So let me jump onto the phone lines and speak to the director of CATS International, Apia Kusi Adomako. Sir, good morning and thank you for joining us. So the Minister of Transport has announced these additional buses on 4 major Accra corridors during the peak hours to ease the worsening transportation challenges. Of course, you've heard all the conversation we've had. Specifically to that intervention, what is your position?
Good morning, Caleb, and good morning to CT listeners in Ghana and worldwide. I think what the minister is doing is a firefighting approach. And in Ghana, we wait for a problem to arise, and then we come and do some firefighting. In 2016, the government started this Ayalololo that was meant to mass transit dedicated route. The previous administration came and nearly collapsed it. Now, private schools and churches are the ones that have rented Ayalololo. If we had invested well in Ayalololo and created more additional dedicated lanes, I'm sure that the last 10 years would have seen an improvement in the public sector. And so I think that beyond what the minister has said, that these buses are going to support consumers and users during this rush season, I think that the minister needs to have a bigger template, a bigger broad plan in terms of how do we resolve the urban transportation crisis in Accra. If you recall, somewhere in May, for example, when the fuel prices went down, most commercial drivers refused to reduce the prices. And for those who reduced their fares, what they were doing was that they were taking the passengers from, let's say, if you are in Adenta and you're coming to Accra, he starts from Adenta and then to Medina, he stops and collects a fee, and then he loads again to Siashi and then takes another fee, and then to 37 another fee. And all of these things were happening because government has left the operation of urban transit into the hands of the private sector. Currently, there's no regulation there. Under the law, MMDAs are the ones that are supposed to regulate commercial transport operators in their jurisdiction. But the MMA has become one of the, I would say, inefficient in doing this regulation. And the minister also, knowing that there is also Accra, is a city and also a capital city, I think that government needs to do more. We cannot mortgage urban transit into the hands of private sector. My father will tell you that those days in the 60s and even in the 50s, the public buses were doing well. The OSES and the Omnibus Bus Service Authorities were doing well. And you could easily know that, look, 7:15, Dansuma to Accra bus will come. The next one will be 7:30. But today, you live in Accra, you can't plan your life. That is why everybody is trying to get a private car.
Yeah, but
and if you all go ahead.
Yes, we've seen the state trying to play this role in our part of the world. We've had the OSES, we've had the STCs. You mentioned the Ayalolos, and it has proven to be an inefficient player in the space. So the argument then is that have a stringent regulatory system that cannot be flouted. Police it to the letter so that the private sector will invest in the space. You just have to ensure that you protect the public interest so the private sectors who are operating that space don't take advantage of the citizens, you see?
Yes, that is also good, but no major city in this world has ever left, even a capitalist New York, the capitalist Washington, D.C., and Chicago, and major cities abroad. The city, the states, the city, they run the public transit. And there's a lot of reasons for that. You know, public transit, it has a way of supporting the economy. So the government even invests and subsidizes the operation, because if everybody were to drive, that could lead to a gridlock. And so we cannot take the role of government in providing efficient and safe public transportation. Now, if we were to have public transport that were working effectively, that could also put competitive pressure on the private sector drivers who are trying to charge on thought by thought basis. who are trying to charge excessive pricing. And so we cannot, and you said that the Ayalololo has not been managed effectively. That is management issue. Elsewhere, people manage buses effectively. In Ghana, we appoint anybody to go and manage government operations. If government were to appoint competent people, why VIP, for example, is run by private sector and it's been effective. Why can't we learn? Why can't we allow, for example, KPMG to do executive search for the management of, let's say, Ayolololo, and let's put some KPI on them. When we do that, we'll be able to we'll become successful. But the way that when a new government changes, we're trying to dish positions around to party faithfuls who may not even have the expertise in managing these services. That is the problem. And I think that this problem can easily be resolved than trying to shift everything into the hands of the private sector.
Very well. Thank you for your advocacy on public consumption, consumer rights, and your thoughts with us this morning.